A conversation around migration in the United Kingdom has taken a new turn after claims that migrants, living in the UK send over £24.5 billion every year back to the home country. For some people, this number sounds shocking. Others says it's completely normal. But the real question is this figure accurate? And what does this actually mean for the UK and the migrants themselves? Because when people hear that billions of pounds are leaving the UK every year, it quickly becomes a political debate. Some say migrants are draining the economy. Others argue that migrants are simply supporting their families, something millions of people around the world do. So today, let's break this down carefully. We'll look at where the 24.5 billion figure comes from, how much migrants actually send home, which countries receive the most money, why migrants send money home, and whether this is really a problem for the UK economy. Let's start with the number itself. Where did the 24.5 billion figure come from? They claim that migrants in the UK send 24.5 billion pounds a year to their home countries comes from estimates by the World Bank and migration researchers. However, there is an important detail many people miss. There are two different types of estimates according to research from the Migration Observatory of Oxford University. Official recorded remittance from the UK were about £9.3 billion in 2023, but researchers believe the real number could be much higher. Why? Because official statistics only capture formal financial transfers through banks and registered money transfer companies. They do not fully capture cash carried by travelers, informal transfer systems, money sent through friends and relatives, some digital transfer methods. When those estimates are included, researchers say the total amount sent abroad may reach around 24.5 billion per year. So the number circulating online is not completely false, but it is an estimate rather than exact confirmed figure. The distinction is very important. The money migrants send back to their home countries is called remittances. Remittances are extremely common worldwide. When people move abroad for work, they often send money back home to parents, to their children, extended family, communities, investment or property. In many cases, the migrant may be the main breadwinner of several family members. According to survey in UK, about 27% of people born abroad send money home. That means the majority of migrants do not regularly send remittances, but a significant minority do. Countries that receive the most remittances from the UK tends to be those with large diaspora communities in Britain. Estimates suggest the top destinations includes India, Pakistan, Nigeria. These countries have long-standing migrant communities in the UK, some dating back decades. Other countries that receive significant money transfer from the UK include Bangladesh, Kenya, Ghana, the Philippines, Poland. In some smaller economies, remittances from the UK make up a significant portion of their national income. For example, countries like Somalia, Jamaica, and the Gambia rely heavily on money sent by their diaspora abroad. For these communities, remittances can sometimes exceed foreign aid. The reason migrants send money home are usually simple. Family responsibility. Research shows 91% of migrants who send remittances do so primarily to support family members. That support may include paying school fees, supporting elderly parents, building houses, funding businesses, medical expenses. In many cultures, including African and Asian societies, it is expected that people working abroad support relatives back home. For example, someone working in the UK might send £100, £200 or £500 monthly to help family members survive in their home country. And for many families, that money can be life-changing. Studies suggest that the average amount migrants send varies widely depending on income, but estimates suggest migrants in the UK may send between £1,000 and £3,300 per year on average. Some people send less, some send far more. Highly paid professionals might send large sums for investments or property purchases. Students or low-income workers might send small amounts occasionally. So while the total number sounds huge, it is made up of millions of smaller transfers. One argument critics make is that remittances represent money leaving the UK economy. Technically, that is true. When money is sent abroad, it is no longer circulating inside the UK. However, economists point out that the situation is more complicated. Migrants first earn that money in the UK economy. They work in businesses, pay rent, buy food, pay taxes, use transport, spend money locally. In other words, the money they send home is only part of their total economic activity, and before that money is sent abroad, it has already circulated inside the UK economy. Migrants also pay taxes. Another key factor often left out of the debate is taxes. Migrants working legally in the UK pay income tax, national insurance, VAT on goods and services. Many sectors in the UK economy rely heavily on migrant workers, including the healthcare, construction, hospitality, agriculture, technology. For example, thousands of doctors and nurses in the UK's National Health Service are foreign born. Without migrant workers, some industries would struggle to function. Remittances are a global phenomenon. It is also important to understand that remittances are not unique to the UK, they happen everywhere. Migrants in the United States, Canada, Australia, Germany, Gulf countries all send money home. Globally, remittances total hundreds of billions of dollars every year. For many developing countries, remittances are one of the largest sources of foreign income, sometimes even larger than foreign investment or aid. The issue of remittances has become controversial in the UK largely because of politics around immigration. Some commentators argue that large remittance flows means migration does not benefit the UK. Others strongly disagree. Economists generally say the picture is more balanced. Migrants contribute to the economy in multiple ways: filling labor shortages, paying taxes, increasing consumer spending, starting businesses. At the same time, migrants maintaining ties with their home countries is simply a normal human behavior. After all, many migrants still have, they still have their parents, they have their children, spouses, extended families living abroad. Countries like Nigeria, remittances from the diaspora are extremely important. Money sent home from abroad, support millions of households. It helps pay for education, healthcare, housing, small businesses. For many families, remittances are more reliable than government support. That is why governments around the world, actively encourage diaspora investments. So, what is the real story behind the 24.5 billion figure? Here are the key facts. Yes, migrants in the UK send billions of pounds home every year. Official recorded transfers are around 9.3 billion pounds annually, but estimates suggest the real figure could be much higher, possibly around 24.5 billion. When informal transfers are included, most migrants who send money do so to support family members, not to move wealth out of the UK for economic reasons. And before that money is sent abroad, Migrants have already participated in the UK economy through work, spending, and taxes. In other words, the story is far more complex than the headline suggests. Migration, remittances, and global families are deeply connected, and in today's world, money crossing borders is simply part of how global migration works. Whether someone supports or opposes immigration, one thing is clear: remittances are not just statistics. Behind every transfer is usually a migrant worker trying to support people they care about: parents, children, brothers, sisters. For many families around the world, that money makes the difference between survival and hardship. If you find this info informative, kindly like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.